Okay, hold on. Okay, so now let's transition into Sufjan Stevens, Carrie Lowell. The
Okay,
new
I'm gonna start.
Okay, Alex,
You can
you go.
do your
Alex,
little
you
I'm
intro
talking.
though. Or I don't know. Okay, so I think something super notable and interesting and important to notice, well, is that the album just sort of starts. There's no pageantry, there's no drama. We just sort of hop into this plucked string arpeggio as though we're starting in the middle of the story, which is notable and like incredibly appropriate because this period of time in his life is just the middle of his story, and this album is not his art project. It's his life, and he said that, and I think that's so true of the record. And
Love that.
and I think that's probably the most important thing you need to know going into this is that it isn't his art project. And it's beautiful. I mean, I think also something I've noticed is that it's like he's kind of a changed man on it. You know what I mean? He's not the same person we were listening to on.
He swears for the first time in his.
No, he swore in Age of Odds.
No, he swore in Age of Odds.
I'm not fucking around.
He wasn't fucking around.
Okay,
I'm
Okay, well,
not
still.
fucking around.
It sounded much more stronger and hateful in this one.
Okay, hold on.
I would not describe it as hateful. Let me finish
No,
my
it's
thought.
not hateful.
Of himself. Anyways.
I mean,
Okay.
it's hateful towards himself, like a little bit, but not like hateful. Like
Alex,
I'm not fucking
go
around,
on.
like sounds like.
Yeah.
Alex, speak over them.
trampling
Oh my
angry.
god. Okay, so he's an adult now. He's like, I think he's really come into his own as an adult on this record. Like when you listen to Illinois and Age of Odds, it was kind of like, I guess the emotions and the feelings, while you know still real and there and incredible, they feel. I don't know. I guess it feels like there's more of an authority to them on Carrie and Lowell. Like, it feels realer to me, I guess, which is probably also because, as he said, this is his life and not his art project. And I think it's an incredible record. I think it's gonna be, if any of his records are remembered in 100 years. This is gonna be the one, I think, because it's the most relatable. It's the most relatable.
There's four over here.
Okay.
What? Okay, no, I shut up.
Okay, let me be of a dissenting opinion.
Wait, let me finish my reason.
Okay.
For that. It's not because it's his best record. That's not what I'm saying.
Pitchfork.
I still think Age of Odds is his best record. I just mean it's his most relatable record. It's something that people will always be able to relate to, and that's dealing with death. Like with Illinois, it's just kind of it's a snapshot of a culture in a certain period of time, and I don't think. I mean, it'll be interesting to hear in maybe 100 or 200 years, but I don't know if people are going to be able to relate to it by then. I'm sure there are some songs on it, yeah, but like, I guess I just feel like things are going to be different in the future, but in this area, when it comes to, you know, death and being self-destructive, nothing's going to be different in the future. That won't change. And yeah.
So this album, I think what you're saying, and I agree with the idea that the most like long-standing, time-tested items of art are the ones that are just very like something essential to human nature. Like people can relate to old texts and you know historical items just because you look at them and you say, wow, we're still people at this point in time. I see what you're saying and comparing it as a piece that'll live on. So yeah. I agree with you. So you would disagree, Matty? Go on.
Okay, I like this album. Let me say that first and foremost, this album is great and I like it a lot. But the thing is, I think right now I can't full on relate. I mean, the thing is, I feel a lot of let's see, is it sympathy or empathy? Empathy is like, sympathy would be like.
Sympathy is when you aren't there, like you don't feel the same thing, but you feel bad for the other person.
So yeah, because I feel a lot of sympathy for Sufjan Stevens, but I don't feel empathy because I haven't really had like a major, like thing is, I've had family deaths when I was like a kid. But the thing is, I didn't understand death when I was a kid. Like I barely understood it. But now I understand it a lot more, and I haven't really had like a big family death happen where I can like really relate to Sufjan's album, where like I feel like very sorry for him, and like his pain is very like it's real. Like you really do feel it on this album. Like he really again like on No Shade That's Drawn Across, fuck me, I'm falling apart. Like he just flat out says he's just falling apart. Like just so bluntly, just like I'm not okay. And right now, considering my personal life, I definitely like feel the same way. Like fuck me, I'm falling apart. Like I feel the way. But in terms of like death and like the grief of his mother, I haven't really had like a situation like that in my life where that's sort of happened to me. So I kind of have like a little bit of trouble relating to the subject
but Matty,
matter in that way.
what you're connecting to is more just this this emotional this emotional release that he's like giving you. You don't have to connect to the exact.
I'm not saying I don't have to connect. I'm just saying that like I feel like I would appreciate this album a lot more if I had that connection.
Where's the relatability?
Well, be thankful you don't.
Yeah, I
just
don't
talk
have that
about-
connection. I adore this album. I think it's a very strong record.
Pouch Chester just tweeted me dead.
Okay, Arthi, what'd you say? Or were you
Can
gonna
we
say?
talk about Sufjan and his mother for like a minute? Did anybody read the?
Oh yeah, I've read
Picture?
the picture. Like again, to give a little background on the album.
it's really good.
Like his mother between him, like the relationship between him and his mother is extremely like complicated because his mother has abandoned him a number of times. She was an alcoholic, a drug addict, bipolar, schizophrenic. She had just a number of mental and substance issues and in her life, and it's just sort of like in this way I feel like he sort of has like a bit of a like Stockholm syndrome, I guess, towards his mother, even though that she's done like kind of like these terrible things. He understands why she's done these things because like she just physically and mentally could not take care of her children. She was not cut out to do it, like in certain parts of her life.
Yeah, I found that like reading about his mother after having listened to the song 4th of July was kind of weird. Did you guys think that the song was like whose perspective did you think that song
It was from his mother's perspective.
Like the whole thing.
I would say I'd say
whole
like parts
thing.
of it. Most of it is from his mother's perspective, and like the end, like the beginning part and like the end part from like Sufjan. I would probably say.
I think it was a conversation.
Yeah, I think that also makes sense.
Like on her
And
deathbed, I think.
a beautiful one, and one that made me cry 3 different times on my first listen.
Oh, definitely.
I'm looking
I mean-
up the lyrics.
Yeah.
I just must be an asshole. I just don't like. I just have problem with like empathy in humans. I guess that. I guess.
I are
Matty.
robots.
I feel like
Well,
again.
Maddie,
I feel like,
it's
I feel
okay if you
like, I
don't
feel like
relate
such
to this.
an
like-
asshole.
Well, yeah, here, I just want to like.
But that's
first,
okay. Yeah.
like before I talk about the album, like, okay, like who here comes from a musical background? I don't mean be condescending, but
I do not.
What
No.
do you mean by that?
Like.
so, I mean, it's basically okay, like thing is that like the dynamics of this album. My problem is that it's too it's not very static. It's just mezzo piano the entire time.
Okay.
that's what he
Let me
said, though.
justify that. Okay, so the thing is,
said-
I would make that complaint too. That like compared to like Age of Odds in Illinois, like it isn't as like cinematic or like as epic as those two albums, but it doesn't have to be because while those albums are like I said, he said in an interview with Pitchfork,
he
this
said
is
it's
his
not
life.
An art project.
Oh, yeah, the thing
he
is-
said it's his life.
The instrumentation fits with the
But-
lyrics.
Well, the thing is that I don't know, just that like I feel like stripped back acoustic albums, they live and die by their dynamics. You gotta have some crescendos, even if you don't like increase the instrumentation. You still have to. I mean, there's no emotional high points.
There are though.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're huge.
There absolutely
Emotional
are.
high points.
And because it's
Kind of,
so
but-
stark, the moments where a single extra instrument is added to the mix, you're just like, holy fuck. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, but again, the moment that you start picking it apart by instrument
Yeah.
by instrument and note by note is when you're losing something from this album
I mean, I also-
specifically.
Well,
Like this album's not about that.
I would argue that it wasn't made for you to enjoy it.
I mean,
Like,
I get it.
I think it was a very cathartic, like Sufjan, he needed this album to kind of like grieve a little bit. Like this is an album for himself and not for like as like an artistic expression. Like this is just like like I said, this is not an art project. This is my life. it's his fucking life. He wants to, grieve a little bit and just sort of like share his thoughts on the thing because he's found relief in music to help, kill the pain a little bit.
Yeah, and that's not to say that I didn't like because there's a lot I liked a lot on here. Like I didn't dislike this album per se. Like the first 3 tracks, Death with Negative D, Should Have Known Better, All of Me Wants All of You. I love those tracks. And then like No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross, it might be my song of the year so far. Like it's just so beautiful, like, very 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 beautiful. But so just in the middle, it just kind of lags for me. Like John, My Beloved, very boring song to me.
Wrong. Sorry.
Wrong song. I said very boring song to me.
Yeah.
So.
Your opinion is wrong, and
So
I
stop.
I
Alex.
won't hear it.
Okay, Alex,
I'm sorry.
please.
Alex,
Okay.
don't be a hypocrite.
If
It was very good, but mainly I kind of agree with Fantano overall. I guess like my rating and stuff.
6. Oh, okay, but I will say, my 2 complaints. Actually, it's like I'm gonna say 2 complaints because the third would be like
talk about your complaints about music.
would be the instrumentation, but the thing is, it
Negatives.
fits. Okay, one I've already discussed where I said that like I feel like I want to relate this album a lot more than I should, but I just like I can't relate completely with the album. And 2, oh god, wait, what was it gonna be? Shit, I forgot what my second complaint was. Oh god, I feel like I was getting ready to make like my 2 complaints. And I forgot the other.
I have one more thing also is that I feel like I would have I wish I hadn't known as much coming in, like the Pitchfork interview. Like I wish just because I feel like. I mean, it's not like it doesn't cover any new ground, but I feel like it would have been more interesting to me had I just known like just the bare minimum coming in.
Like you have to read in the background of the song. But actually, I remember my complaint was like the fact that like this album, it's in like non-chronological order, which is sort of like it's like I understand sort of about his life it's just sort of like
Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, I kind of wish a little bit if it was a bit more like chronological. Like I feel like we could have gotten really the progression into like where like and now one of my favorite albums this year was Volnicura, which is basically like a chronological basically it's a chronological order of like her breakup. Where with this album you sort of like it's like the timeline is sort of all over the place and you have to kind of figure it out for yourself. And that kind of makes the album kind of disjointed in certain ways for me. So I kind of wish that it was like chronological in like from like before his mom's death, during when his mom was dying, and like after his mom's death. Would you kind of get that? But it, again, like I said, it's a little the like it's like I wish it was just sort of like I could figure out the timeline a little bit easier.
Well, I don't dislike that just because I said it there were no help. I mean, I kind of lied at that. I mean, that was a little exaggeration, but still, the point is that like if it was just the beginning and just it was in chronological order, there wouldn't be much variation in the album. Like it would. Like each song is, I guess, a different journey.
Yo, this is a really tricky thing about talking about music, is because you guys are talking about it technically as if you're critiquing an album, and I'm like, I listen to this album and it's like my heart is feeling everything, and I'm not thinking about that kind of stuff. And it's like I understand completely where you're coming from, and I do that about albums too. But it's just like. Like I feel gross
Sarah.
hearing you guys talk about.
Okay, well, let me say.
I do too.
Okay.
I feel so stressed out.
Like, Sarah, okay, here we go. I am a music journalist.
Like,
I have to talk about music this way.
You're talking about like you're like analyzing emotions or something. It just feels weird to me.
Like you're analyzing someone's like talking about the death of their mom.
I feel bad about doing that, but it's just sort of like I am a music critic. I have to like discuss the technical details of why I either like or dislike music. I can't just be like, well, I like this album because it really like really gets me in the feels. Like I gotta like really like intricate. Like I have to really like intricately explain. Like okay, here's like a little bit of technical details of what I like and dislike of the album. I'm trying my best not to come off as pretentious, and like I said, it's not a big issue. Like my criticisms of them, like they're criticisms, but they're very like tiny. Like they really don't affect my rating for the album that much. It's just sort of like I would prefer he did it this way, but like I don't mind either way.
I got you. I'm kind of similar. Like this is definitely a mood album for me. Like I can't just throw it on any time. But like I was talking about earlier, how like I go to work early in the morning. This is definitely a good early morning work driving to album for me. So I'll definitely stay in the rotation.
I guess it's just I don't know. I guess you're talking from my opinions about rating music at all. It's just like they're super liberal or I don't even know. I just don't like rating music at all to begin with.
I
So
never
I think
it's an unproductive conversation to have.
I think what Sarah's
For-
trying to say is that, like, we're kind of talking in two different languages, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
like we saw the album in two different, like, drastically different ways, not just in opinion, but in how we listen to it.
Yeah.
To
That's
go
what makes
back
this
to
conversation interesting, though. I think.
to go back to the quote that we all
Yes.
keep I keep saying is that, like, I guess I'm seeing it as a bit of an art project and you guys are seeing it as, like, him talking about his life.
Exactly.
I guess.
When I listen to the album, I'm listening to a book or something, and, like, it's sad and it hurts me. But I don't know.
Do we want to give you, like, any final thoughts on the album before we wrap it up?
Oh wow. Well, how long did you guys talk about Death Grips?
We talk again. Well, the thing is, again, we're trying to cut down time on the podcast, unless you guys still have like a bunch more stuff
This
to
is just
say.
as long as last week's.
I
I
don't.
was gonna.
Well, yeah,
I
but
was
we
gonna
did fit in
comment
two
on-
main topics this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fruit chains.
Do you have anything else to say that, like, before we go to the final thoughts, Sarah?
Yeah, I just wanted to gosh, I don't know. I think I mentioned something about, like, there being an added instrumentation. Like, that was a really just, like, a beautiful way to just build on an emotion suddenly, especially in Shadow of the Cross, the way that he does that. It's so slight, but it hits you so hard. And I think that's just, like, an example that what's happening is really, really based in talent and not based in, like, gimmick or anything like Illinois or something.
Well,
You know, those
and
are
like that,
fun
like,
and big and changes. And this isn't, yeah. But, like, something like I think it was John My Beloved and oh no, The Only Thing does that. Like, they have that kind of just, like, burst, and it reminds me of the Antlers, actually, and the way it just kind of, like, creates this just full sound that, like, that goes into you when you're already kind of broken down, and then it just explodes or something. I don't know. That was a highlight for me.
So something I did love was I loved his vocal delivery throughout the album, and I love the way they tracked it.
Death with
They did-
Dignity is amazing.
They did a thing. I especially should have known better. Like it was like they recorded his voice so that it sounded like it was like a chorus, but it was just his voice, if I'm not mistaken.
It was just sort of like an echo, I guess.
Yeah, it was like just the echo. I don't know what it was. But
Like,
it sounded like an entire chorus was singing though. It
Sounds like
just-
there's, like, a little bit of ambience behind him.
maybe it was
Yeah.
double tracked. I don't know. It was just very neat, very beautiful.
yeah, I feel like a lot fewer people were involved in Carrie Lowell.
Oh no,
But
doubt.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
He like apparently recorded a lot of it on his iPhone too.
like I thought it was
I
a
think
lot neater than his other albums.
Like, this
But-
album, it's a lot more subtle than his other albums.
Yeah.
You can hear the air conditioner like in some of them. Like I think it's like No Shade in the Shadow of the Cross.
Mm-hmm.
Like his air conditioner's in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very stripped down, very stripped down.
So, I guess my thoughts. I really like the album. It's top 5 of the year easily for me. But there's little tiny issues that, like, I think that aren't too big, but I can get past them. Like, after, like, a number of listens, like, okay, I can, like, figure out stuff from here. But on like the first couple of listens, like, maybe you'll have a hard time kind of figuring out, like, the timeline of stuff, and it's one of those albums that, like, you really have to, like, read into the background of the album in order to understand, like, what he's talking about, like, to really get the, like, full emotional impact of his mother and, like, all the stuff he's talking about on the album.
I don't think necessarily, but it definitely enriches it.
Oh yeah.
I said I wish I'd read it afterwards though, just because like I feel like the lyrics, I don't know, they would have enhanced the lyrics rather than the album enhancing the article.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. I don't know.
All right, so what do you guys? So I guess my final thoughts, I guess, are rating. Even though Sarah hates
Better
ratings, I give this album a walking down the street with my head, like, held very low, and just being really, really depressed.
Okay, my
I
head
have one.
nod rating.
I have one.
Okay,
Okay,
Sarah
go.
can go first.
Mine is my head is cradled in Sufi's arms.
Sarah,
He's
now you know we all
He's
want
stroking my hair softly and wiping a tear from my cheek.
Shouldn't you be the one that's comforting him though?
My head
He's-
rating
he's-
is the
he's your
opposite of that,
strong.
and his head is in my arms, and then also we kiss probably.
Okay.
But
Is
very
your girlfriend here?
like tenderly.
yeah, not like a sexual or like even
Okay,
romantic.
this is getting
kiss.
this is getting okay. This is getting cut when I'm editing.
On the forehead, not on the lip.
Alex wasn't involved in head-rating.
Forehead.
On the forehead! Soft forehead kiss from Sufi. Oh, that's what it is.
Okay, okay, I'm probably gonna cut that from the audio.
Why would you do that?
Okay, Arthi and Will, your ratings.
9 out of 10 heads with tears coming out of the eyes.
Okay, Will.
Not crying.
There's a
Tears
picture.
coming out.
Yeah.
There's a picture of
An
him.
allergic reaction.
Okay.
There's
Will.
a picture of him in the article.
Put my contact in.
God damn it, Sarah. Let Will tell his rating.
Let me say my words. Okay. Anyways, there's a
I
picture.
don't want to hear it.
Sarah.
No, it's him. He has gauges. That's new, I think. And it's that picture of him, and he's smiling, but it's not like really happy. It's like putting on a happy face. Strong for the world. That's my ranking of this album.
He has gauges? Like in his ears?
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Okay, so yeah, that was Carrie and Lowell. The song.
Lowell.
Lowell. What?
Carrie Lowell.
Is it Lowell or is it Lowell?
Lowell.
It's Lowell.
It's Lowell.